Hey guys, with release 1 just around the corner and only 2 weeks away, here's some top 20 tips you can use through your play series. Let's jump in. Tip number 1. Got a big guy blocking your resources. Simply go to the production, drop down a craft bench, come say hello. Just make sure you got your friendly baton equipped. Couple of slices. And a couple more slices. Problem solved. Tip number 2. You got little pesky guys blocking your resources. Drop down said crafty bench, stand on top of it, put out your favorite baton, and just wait for them to charge. Problem solved. Tip number 3. Tired of spamming E to collect leaves and or materials for your biomass? Well, simply look at something that you want to pick up, press and hold E, press tab, let go of E, press tab again, and now you can just run around looking at things and it'll loot it for you. Tip number 4. You don't have to press and hold E to clear off a node's top section. You don't have to hold it. You can simply tap E and it'll continue breaking for you. Bonus tip, if you want to actually have the animation perform faster to break it quicker, what you can do is you can actually press and hold E and let go just before the animation finishes and press and hold E again. So if we do it here, you can see we can do it like this. To clear the node quicker. Tip number 5. Do you have something that's in the way of or close to your rail that you'd like to clear? Simply put on your hover pack, start flying, change to your chainsaw, and go clear the debris without having to worry about the way up. When you're done, fly back up, land by your rail. Tip number 6. Do you have too many trains on your network and it's causing traffic jams? Simply use the timetable, go to the respective train, and alter its settings based on its timetable. Instead of having one load unload has been completed, change it so that the freight wagon is fully unloaded. You can also then further take this by waiting a certain duration or waiting a certain duration. So you can set it to 300 seconds, for example. That way it's going to wait for the fully unloaded wagon to complete, or wait 5 minutes before leaving the station. Tip number 7. Struggling to understand how path and block signals work? Want to alleviate some of the strain on the network? It's easy. All you have to do is place all the block signals on the accompanying start and exit nodes, and all you have to do is go and select the path signal and replace every entrance, and you'll see it automatically tells you which ones you need to replace. Now your network is going to be clog free at the intersections. Tip number 8. Are you having problems remembering which logistics belt is carrying which item? If you look here, we've got essentially 2 lines of copper. Why not just press X, choose a corresponding color scheme that you'd like, and update those belts and use them across your factory to associate that color with that item. Alternatively, what you could do is you could just use a beam in the architecture, put that down on the location, drag it up through your bolts, and then just place down a 2 sign, a display sign, on the corresponding belt. Remove said beam, update with your according items, descriptions, and or line speeds. Tip number 9. Need to traverse a high cliff in the early game? No problem. Just put down a foundation, build it up vertically, and then just use the ladder which you can purchase from the item shop to scale up to any height and traverse. The added benefit is once you get to where you need to build, you can simply fall off the ladder to get really quickly down to the bottom, just as long as you make sure that you touch the ladder before going all the way down. Tip number 10. Struggling to remember which part of your factory is making what item at what rate? Simply just use the signs by the corresponding items. Makes it much easier to find what you need. Tip number 11. Need to have lots of manufacturers with inputs behind but don't want to necessarily link them all up at the same time? Simply do this and create a blueprint of the manufacturer that'll allow you the ability to slap it down with your conveyor tower, and then all you have to do is link up the associated one when you're ready to build. Tip number 12. Need to make lots of items at your craft bench? Don't hold spacebar to build items and then let go. Just tap spacebar and let it do the rest for you. Tip number 13. Did you know that you can actually change what goes into your backpack for your fuel? So let's change it to the biofuel. And if we change to the biofuel and we hold spacebar and we fly, you can see we get in line with this beam. If we go to this one and we again change it to the packaged fuel and we hold spacebar, we can get in line with this beam. And last of which, if we change the input to turbo fuel, we get in line with this beam. So use turbo fuel for your flight patterns. Tip number 14. If you want to scale a large cliff in the late game, what you can do is you can just build a vertical wall all the way to the top, link it with a power source, make sure your hover pack is equipped, and just fly up. It's an easy way to traverse and get through all the heights that you need. Rinse and repeat all the way as high as you want to go. Tip number 15. Are you tired of daisy chaining all your logistics down in a sequence of long-winded chains to be able to get them to the final destination? Rather than do that and create a factory with belts on belts, what you can do is you can run from a floor hole to a floor hole, and thus creating infinite length belts. Tip number 16. If you're holding spacebar when the autosave hits 1 second, you'll get an extra height boost. Tip number 17. Need to get around the map fast? No problem. Use your friend the moth to take you for a little adventure. There's a good boy. Tip number 18. Tired of scanning the map looking for the resources that you need? No problem. Research the radar tower inside the MAM, link it up to a power source, and see what gets found. Added bonus, you can actually use the tower and it shows you the radius and what's in the location. Tip number 19. Tired of running out of resources when you go to your new place to build a base with some buildings? Rather create a catalog of all the items you need using the add to-do list. Make sure you have the required materials before you head off. Tip 20. You can press tab, hover over the right side of the screen and you'll see a little black bar that's opaque pops out. Click on it and you can make public or private notes. Public notes will show for everyone in the game. Private notes will only show for you. You can use heading syntax, bold syntax, and you can track it with your little to-do with the cross. So we've created a heading with factory. We've created a line item for create, receiving, and sending station which you could use the bold attribute as well. So we can add that to the list. That'll then create something that looks like this. You can then go back inside, edit it, and mark off what you've completed. It's as easy as that to track what you want to do in the game. Tip 21, the final tip. What you can do is when you're placing a building, before you click to place it, you can press H. That locks it into position. You can then use the arrow keys to move it around to find the perfect spot. Thanks to Chucky in the comments. That's an awesome tip. Sweet guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you find these useful. Really looking forward to version 1 release. I'll see you guys later. Ciao for now.